Hey, how's it going? Zach D Productions here, and I'm here for a list video for you guys. So for this list, I'll be going over some of my favorite movies of the year 2008. Now, I think 2008 overall has been a pretty solid year for movies, and we'll be going over some of the best ones in this video. We have about 8 movies here to go over, so let's go ahead and get started. This list is also in no particular order. So we'll start off with The Transporter 3 with Jason Statham. Now, I would say among the original Transporter trilogy, this one is probably the weakest among the 3 of them, but with saying that, I still dig the movie quite a bit. I still think that it's good for what it is, but again, it is probably the weakest among the Jason Statham Transporter trilogy, but still, pretty good for what it is. It does have an interesting plot. I do like the things with the bracelet in this movie where, you know, they basically get killed if they get a certain amount of distance away from their car. So, you know, some different ideas, some unique concepts. You know, there are some things about the movie that don't really work, though, and that's mainly the edits. The editing just didn't really work for me in this movie. When you watch some of the fight scenes, they're kind of poorly edited, in my opinion, but I mean, they're decently done. I mean, I do like the sort of more fast-paced scenes, you know, with the car. So, yeah, I mean, overall, it's good, but I wouldn't say great by any means. So, The Transporter 3, overall, pretty good for what it is. So, next, we got another Jason Statham movie, Death Race. Now, I would say that this one is better than The Transporter 3, to be honest. I do like this movie, actually. When I first saw it, I wasn't really sure what to think of it. But this movie has actually grown on me quite a bit. I actually really dig this movie. Basically, the plot of the movie is Jason Statham's character's wife gets killed, and he's basically taking the blame for it, so he ends up in prison. And they're basically put up against this race match called, of course, the Death Race, where if, of course, he wins the race, he gains his freedom back. And then he finds out that the person who actually killed his wife is in the same prison he is, and of course he gets revenge. And yeah, I'll just leave it at that because I don't want to give too much away regarding the movie. So yeah, but it does have an interesting plot, and I do dig the movie quite a bit, actually. I think it's really solid. So Death Race, really great Jason Statham movie, I think. So next we got Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Now, I know that the new one is coming out very soon, The Dial of Destiny, which I know that some people don't really have high hopes for that. I feel like as time goes on, I'm starting to have less hopes for it myself. I do think that it'll probably be the weakest of all the Indiana Jones films. I mean, I'll probably still check it out, but I do have less hope for it, to be honest. But this really should have been the last Indiana Jones movie, and I know I'm not alone on that either. I know that others have said the same thing, that this should have been the finale of Indiana Jones. I mean, the stuff with the alien, I mean, it's there. It's a neat concept. And the movie is also not as, I guess, gritty or as dark as the previous films, which I know that some people have a problem with. Like, the movie is not all that serious compared to the original trilogy, and I would say that the original trilogy is still better than this, but this movie, it's still solid. It's still a solid Indiana Jones movie, and this was also my first Indiana Jones movie, believe it or not, so there you go. Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I'd say it's good, but not great. Next, we got Rambo, also known as Rambo 4. This movie is brutal. I mean, it's a really brutal movie. There's definitely a lot of scenes in this movie where you can tell that they kind of did some of these scenes for shock value for sure. There's a lot of intense moments and things like that. I mean, the action scenes, they are pretty well done, I think. And I would say out of all the Rambo films, this one is probably the weakest one. But with saying that, I still like the film, and that goes to show that there is no bad Rambo movie, because I think that this one is solid, even though I think it's the weakest among all of them. Definitely a solid movie for sure. So Rambo or Rambo 4, solid one for sure. So next we got Taken, the first one, and this is actually the 3-movie collection on Blu-ray. And I would say out of all the Taken films, the first one is easily the best, and it's a classic for sure. And I want to say it was the movie that really made Liam Neeson's career really skyrocket. I mean, when people think of Liam Neeson, they do mostly think of the Taken movies, and for good reason. I mean, you could maybe make the argument that Taken is his most well-known franchise. But again, I think that the first one is easily the best of the trilogy, so there you go. And Liam Neeson, of course, a great actor as well, so the first Taken movie, definitely a really good one. So next we got Ipmon, the first one with Donnie Yen. Donnie Yen is a terrific actor. Probably one of my favorite actors when it comes to the martial arts stuff. I really dig this movie, and I would say that this is probably still the best Ipmon movie, to be quite honest. I really dig this one. The martial arts are really well done, and Donnie Yen's performance, of course, great. And I do dig the Ipmon movies quite a bit, and I know that they are making a 5th movie, which I know Donnie Yen recently announced, which I'm definitely looking forward to that, so yeah. The first Ipmon movie, definitely great, and if you have not seen this, I'd say give it a watch. So next, we got Iron Man, the first one, and this was basically the movie that started the MCU, and I'd still say it's one of the best MCU movies, to be quite honest. Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, aka Iron Man, giving it his all in this movie. His origin story, it's really fascinating. I mean, some cool action scenes, great scenes with him actually flying in the suit and everything. Great story and everything, and again, a great origin story. Probably one of the best superhero movie origin stories, I think. So the first Iron Man movie, definitely great. But lastly, we got Batman: The Dark Knight, which I would definitely say is the best of the Dark Knight trilogy, and I know that others would say the same thing as well. I mean, this is maybe one of the best live-action Batman films as well. And you, of course, have Heath Ledger as the Joker in this one. May he rest in peace, of course. And yeah, a lot of cool action scenes. Everything from the robbery scene from the beginning of the movie to the scenes with Batman and, you know, him going up against the Joker, of course. I mean, definitely a great follow-up to Batman Begins, for sure. And a great movie. A really great movie. So The Dark Knight, it's a solid one. So I think a lot of people would agree that that is definitely one of the best movies of 2008. So let me know what you think. That is my list of some of the best movies of 2008, of course, based on my opinion. Now, there probably are other movies than these that are... there's other great movies of the year 2008 as well, is basically what I'm trying to say here. I basically lost my train of thought there, but... yeah, so again, overall, 2008 I thought has been a pretty solid year for movies. Let me know what you think, though. Do you agree with my list? Are there some movies that you would have added as some of the best of 2008? Feel free to let me know. So, on that note, thanks for watching, and have a good one.